let's jump into a little bit more of that brain of yours or at the quarterback position. We got former OU quarterback Paul Thompson here on the show. I want to talk about on the defensive side. So back in your era, the early BV eras, back when our defenses were overly stout with just raw talent and could at moments carry the team for us in some capacities. Yeah, I kind of feel like the Florida State game was them carrying the team to the national championship. When you see the guys that they brought out this year, just size-wise, when you're walking around looking at them, what jumped out to you at some of those defensive players this year at the spring game?
Yeah, solid. We got some solid guys up front, and kind of going back to what you were saying back when I played, that's exactly what it was, right? You had the Tommy Harrises, the Dusty Dvorak's, the Lynn Magruders, big guys up front, holding it down and really setting the tone. I remember back then, whenever we would win the coin toss, we'd put our defense out there first, right? Mm-hmm. We'd let them go wreck shop, and we'd be up by 30-some points and still get the ball at halftime, after half, and so that's a big part of it. I know there's some new faces out there. I don't know everybody's name, but that's where it all starts. On the defensive side, we talk about some of the woes in the secondary. It seems like that's kind of a common theme, even when BB got in there. And I know there's some learning to do, and it doesn't just change overnight. But some guys running wide open. Saw that even in the spring game defensively. It's like, man, why is nobody guarding a receiver streaking down the sideline, right? And so a lot of that can be helped from a tough defensive line, right? Getting pressure on the quarterback, making them, see ghosts, even if he's not getting pressure, making him think that he is because you've been up in his grill the last 2 or 3 plays. Nice. And so growing that, developing that defensive line, obviously continuing to educate and grow the secondary. I've said it too. It's tough. Defenses could dominate, 20 years ago because offenses weren't as complex as they are now. True. Right. So back when I played, it was Texas Tech was really they were the first air raid offense, right? They kind of laid it out. Graham Harrell, BJ Simmons, Cliff Kingsbury, those guys it was straight. We're throwing the ball 45 times a game. Everybody else, you might be, 18 to 25 type of deal. And so, and then not only that, but the spread offense where you got 5 receivers, right? You got 4 receivers, you got a tight end, you got a running back coming out as well. So to be able to think about all of that defensively and be in the right position, you can bust. If you bust and you think something, you got the running back and you actually have the tight end, well, there goes the tight end down the middle of the field for a touchdown, right? There's just a lot more to think about than you had to before. So, but again, that's no excuse for letting guys be wide open because there's other teams out there that are, solid at their cornerback position or their secondary positions as well. But, like anything, whether that's the offense or the defense, it starts up front, right? It starts up with those guys, allows you to have flexibility in your play calling offensively. And allows for your DBs defensively to make plays, when you're cramming up the middle and forcing them to throw or, getting pressure on them and being able to get in front and make a pick or knock a ball down just because you got your bigs getting in their face. So, so it looks promising. I know there was, again, I can't remember. I'm not as great with names. And part of the reason is because I don't follow recruiting as much as I used to because everybody just decommits and recommits somewhere else. And it's like, all right, screw y'all. Until you get here and you're on the field, right? I could care less about you because there's so much of this just back and forth nowadays that I don't follow recruiting nearly like I used to. I just root for the guys and cheer for the guys that are out there on game day. But I know there were some bigs, some nice size recruits there at the spring game as well. And it's crazy because I'll take, even when we got on the field, again, it wasn't last year, but I did take my son to a practice. And I swear everyone is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I was walking around out there and I'm like, I was like, I can't imagine one of these guys falling on me right now. And I used to run around on this field and just, have 4, 5, 6 of these guys chasing me. And I'm like, man, I can't imagine just getting leveled by one of these guys right now, as big as these kids are. So we got some talent, that's for sure. We just got to put it into action and put them in the right places and make sure they know what they're doing.
No, yeah, no, that's a good point. When you look at the players in comparison now, yeah, of course, in your era, there were some pretty big dudes on the defensive side, but man, nowadays, yeah, they're walking in there as freshmen. Like you're seeing dudes at 300 pounds running 4.40s on the defensive line. You're like, where is this? Like, what are y'all feeding these kids? Like, how much juice are they really on? Not steroids, just juice in general. They on apple juice nonstop. What's the secret?
Right.
But yeah, that makes me go back to like you said, on the recruiting is tough. That's the one thing I do keep up with a little bit. But there's a lot of changes that are happening on that side of the ball. So kind of want to level set it for some of the fans that are watching and listening. We got to remember we had a huge set of turnover once Lincoln left. I mean, I think over the years that he was here, besides just graduates, I think like 70-something% of the players were gone by BV's first year. It's just like you said, transfer portal shifting, people decommitting, and it's just a lot of new bodies in there. And so depth was definitely an issue for us this past season. And unfortunately, that's what we had to deal with. But luckily, as you mentioned, I do believe BV and staff is able to handle it. So